So, this is part two in today's reading lessons, in which we are working generally towards getting into a good position to write with a lot of insight about theme in the stories that we are reading. And over the next few lessons, you are going to approach the first part of this work um, by undergoing a series of steps. And today we're going to cover the first two of those steps. And in this video, actually, we're just going to look at step one, which is collecting ideas about the themes that we're noticing in the stories that we're reading. So, the first thing I want you to do with your short story is name a central problem or issue that the characters in the story face, or maybe one of the characters is facing. So, you're going to be thinking about your story. In All Summer in a Day, what sticks out the most to me, and it's pretty obvious, is the problem that Margot is facing in that all the other children are pretty mean to her. That's a key issue. It's a key problem. It results in her getting put in the closet while the kids go out and play in the sun. So that's the problem I want to focus on. And the second part of this step is trying to connect it to one of the thematic topics you identified. Well, we identified a lot of thematic topics for All Summer in a Day: loneliness, bullying, jealousy. And I think jealousy is the one I want to connect this issue to, because I think the problem that Margot's facing, this meanness that's coming from the other kids, I think it comes from their jealousy. And if I think back to the story, I know how they treated her. I know how they talked to her, how they yelled at her. And they seem to be mad about her understanding of the sun, and that's why they put her in the closet. So I think I've got several parts of the story that connect to this. So I think I'll be in good shape if I want to write about that a little bit. So, what's the story teaching me about this problem or issue? This is a big question. And for this step, I only mean for you to just give your initial thoughts. So, for All Summer in a Day, what is the story teaching me about why the kids are mean to Margot? And I think they're mean because they're jealous. And I think maybe that's enough, right? The story's teaching me that when people are jealous, they sometimes act really mean. And now that lets me get to this last step, which is free write about my thinking on this issue, right? And there's a little parenthetical that if you want to go further, you can maybe think about how this issue plays out with different characters. But let me show you what I mean. So, write long. How long is going to be kind of up to you, but the main point is free write. So, I'm not going to really censor myself in this writing. I'm just going to go with my first thoughts and see what comes out. And where you're going to do this in your short story is in that box at the bottom, the very first one, free write number one, first thoughts. So here's what I came up with when I was trying to connect this problem that Margot faces with the issue of jealousy and what the story might be teaching me about that. One theme emerging in the text is that jealousy can make you mean. Because the other kids are jealous of Margot, they keep her away from the sun, which, considering the environment they live in, is an incredibly mean thing to do. So jealousy hurts the victim, Margot, but it seems to also hurt the children who are acting jealous. I remember that at one point they looked down at their feet, and that seemed like it revealed something. They're not proud of themselves. They feel bad at the end of the story. This is significant because it shows that jealousy can harm everyone involved. Okay, you see it says write long at the top, and this is not all that long. But again, it is a quick write. So I wrote down everything I thought about this here. I'm sure that many of you guys are going to write a lot longer than this, and that'll be great. But I want to stop here so we have something short to talk about, because there's a few things I want to mention here. Number one is that this is really simplistic. One theme emerging in the text is that jealousy can make you mean. That's a pretty simplistic take, but that's okay. My first thoughts might be a bit simplistic, right? The second thing, though, is notice that I'm thinking about specific parts of the story a little bit, right? How they keep her away from the sun, how they look down at their feet at some point. So I'm really trying to connect my idea with what I really remember from the story. And then notice something else. I told you it starts out really simple. Jealousy can make you mean. But notice how by the end I write, this is significant because it shows that jealousy can harm everyone involved. So my idea has moved from jealousy can make you mean to jealousy can harm not only the victims of the jealousy, but even the people who are feeling jealous. That's a bit more complex. Again, nothing super groundbreaking, but I think I'm heading towards a more interesting idea about what the thematic statement or thematic message might be in this story. What helped me get there was being careful to not censor myself while I'm writing, just let all my ideas come out, but also to use a few key phrases that sort of push me, right? One theme emerging in the text that helps me state something pretty clearly, right? Um, so it seems that, and also maybe most importantly, this is significant because remember, when you ask yourself that question, so what? Why is it significant? That can sometimes push you forward. And that phrase here allowed me to go a little bit further. I've included some of those prompts right here. They are in the slides that are available to you today. So you can glance at these while you're doing your free write. And that's right, you are next. So here is the step by step instructions for collecting idea. And we're starting with step one. Name that central problem, connect it to one of the thematic topics, think about the story as it relates to all that. What's the story teaching you? Think about that, and then do that free writing.